What's up, sneaky people? It's your boy FB Kicks and Gear, and I am back with another video. This time we are back with part 3 of the legit checking slash QC guide for the Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low reverse mochas. And I'm actually really excited about this video specifically because I think that this pair right here might be the best pair that we've seen so far. So let's kind of break things down, dig into it, and let's see what we're gonna find out when we judge this shoe. All that said, let's talk about the shoes. On the left here we have my authentic pair, and on the right we have a pair. This is their information. Pause it, visit them, do your own research, because that's what this is about, doing your own research. This is for educational purposes. I just want to hint at that, educational purposes only. But yeah, they sent over their best batch of the Travis Scott Jordan 1, and I gotta say I'm actually pretty impressed. So let's go back to the authentic shoe. Let's go over our markers and we'll see how good these actually compare, and what are some signs that these might have that you should be on the lookout when you are legit checking for an authentic pair. So first things first, we're gonna go with that bulbous shape. You know, we love to hone in on that bulbous toe box shape, and you see that little beer belly that it has there. That is something that we always want to look at on the authentic pairs, because they are always on the authentic pairs, and you can see it on the other shoe as well. Just a slight bulbous. It's not a slim toe box, kind of thick. The rep pair here does it pretty damn good. I've got to say, it does it pretty damn good. I will say that the leather comes just a little bit too high up on the toe box, but when compared to the authentic pair, they're starting to nail that shape pretty damn good. So that's impressive. Reps are starting to catch up. There's still something that you can look at though. You can, like I said, here the leather comes a little bit too high up onto the top of the toe box, and that's something that I'm starting to pick up on these rep pairs as well. Same thing goes for the other shoe, probably even more so on this shoe, coming right up onto the top of the toe box, but overall they get the shape right. Next thing we want to do is we want to compare the Nubuck on the toes to see how they fare, and I will say the Nubuck is just a slight darker, more richer color than the authentic pair. I don't know if it's noticeable for you guys in the video, but I can see it here. This is just slightly darker. It just seems that the rep batches can't get an exact, but it's close enough that I don't think it matters for the people that are looking for this, but still able to be legit checked. It's almost like this is just a little bit chocolatier than the authentic pair, which is it just has a duller brown to it. They more or less feel the same. I will say that the rep pair feels a little bit softer to the touch, which is good or bad depending on what you feel or what your preference is, but they definitely have a little bit different of a color discrepancy, and you can see it on both pairs too. So if you have access to an authentic pair, that's something that you should be able to look at. For whatever reason, reps just don't have it right just yet. Next thing we want to look at, obviously, is our go-to signs here, which is the Nike Air and its proximity to the side tag, the Cactus tag. One thing that I want to mention is that with the fragments, it had a tell, and the tell was that while sometimes both of the tongues would have the Nike Air tag right next to, or right on top, or a very small gap next to the Cactus Jack, and on the other one, on the fragments, this would be a fragment design, you would always see on those at least one of the Nike Air tongues touching this. For the fragments, it was always this shoe right here with the fragment design on it, always. Sometimes you could see this touching, but it was never consistent on this shoe for whatever reason. It was always consistent on that shoe as long as the shoe was under a size 12 or around there. Bigger sizes, the tongue tags changed, the spacing changed, so that's not something that you can look at for a size, let's say 12, 12 and a half and up. But for 12 and down, it looked very much so like this. What I'm noticing with these is, at the very least, they seem to all be more or less touching the side Cactus Jack tags, more or less. I'm still seeing little to no gap across the board, except for those larger sizes. The gaps get larger on the larger sizes. Like I said about the fragments, still applies here, but I'm noticing across the board you're seeing little to no gap on both shoes, which is good. Where on the fragments, I guess this would be the right shoe, could vary a little bit. It wasn't always touching. On my personal pair it was touching, but on this pair it's almost always little to no gap, like you see here. Same thing on this. But not only is positioning important, also look at the Nike Air tongue tag. All authentic pairs that I've seen have a compressed, short Nike Air tag with the Nike either wrapping around the top of the tongue here or the swoosh touching the bottom of this stitch here. And you can see on both my shoes here, the Nike Air is wrapping around the tongue. It's a compressed Nike Air tag. And the across the board, while a lot of the reps that I've seen get the placement right, I am not seeing that compressed short Nike Air tag. You're seeing full, easy to see Nike Air tags across the board. This is what you traditionally see in Jordan 1s, and this is normal. For whatever reason, I don't know if this is on purpose or just a matter of the fact of how they manufactured them, but this is consistent across all pairs. Look at how compact it is. Look at how it's almost wrapping around the top of the tongue. Very, very, very good tell. Ironically, reps of Jordan 1 highs that I've seen have tongue tags like this when they should look like this, but for these, for whatever reason, they are not doing it right now. So you have your regular facing tongue. Is it a huge tell? No, and it's probably not something a lot of people even pay attention to, but it's definitely something that's going to help you legit check. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to the proximity to this. Obviously, we got small gaps here, a little bit big of a gap here. I would like to see it a lot smaller on this, but the next thing that I want to look at, and probably the thing that makes this the closest, one of the closest reps that I've seen so far, is the reverse swooshes on these reps are probably the closest that I've seen to retail. Still a little different. You still got a little bit lighter, but I feel like it's a lot closer to the authentic pair than we've seen so far. Usually it's significantly paler and it's something that I can see, but definitely a lot closer here. And the midsole is starting to get closer too. Still a little bit dark. There's a mismatch here, and you can see the contrast that I tell people to look for when it comes to looking at the reverse swoosh right on top of the midsole, but it's definitely getting a little bit better. You can see the difference in the midsole color a little bit more easily when you take a look at the back shot here. One of the reps that I reviewed before had this gray tone, a different tone of white to the leather. This definitely has a little bit of that going on too, but it's a lot closer than the previous pair. So pay attention to that, take a look at that. Always something you want to look at. You want your white leather to be a bright white leather. You don't want it to look like it's got like a filter going on. The next thing that we like to look at here is something I've been noticing on reps, is that the Cactus Jack text is not bold, it's not full, it's almost like maroon instead of a dark red, because it's just not as prominent on the side of the shoe. This one probably has the best Cactus Jack text I've seen on a rep so far. It's got that red, it's prominent, you can feel it, doesn't feel flat like it's fading into the Nubuck. Obviously you've got a little bit of an interaction with the C. I would like to see this Cactus Jack a little bit lower. You want this stitch to touch the top of the C. On the other shoe, it's doing a little bit better actually on this shoe, so that's good. But that is something that's a sleeper tell that a lot of people don't seem to pay that much attention to, because this isn't 3M. It is just a solid red, And this is the best I've seen on a rep so far. So it feels the same. They're positioned very similarly. Like I said, I would rather see this just a tad bit lower from a legit checking perspective, but that's something that, like I said, no rep I've reviewed so far has gotten that right. And then we'll take a look at the embroidery on the back. Personally, while the shapes are just a slight bit different, they look very similar, same style. And just like I say in every other video, this is not something that, with the Air Jordan Wings logo, it's not something that I pay too much attention to, specifically because it looks pretty shitty on the authentic pair, and it's gonna look shitty on the rep pair too. They look identical to me. This is not a legit checking feature in my humble opinion. And the last thing that I like to take a look at from what I've been noticing that are different is the white laces. For whatever reason, the white laces are just never right. The white laces on the authentic pair has this cooler, colder tone to it. It's almost like it's got like a faint hint of bluish green, while the reps are either sail or bright warm white, and you can see the difference here. And actually, one thing I'm noticing is that the same thing applies to the color of the Cactus Jack tags here. As you can see, I can't tell if this is because maybe some of the dye has run off. The red dye on the thread here has run off on the white, but the authentic pair has a colder tone to it, while the rep has a warmer off-white tone to it. In the white of the Cactus Jack tag, hardly noticeable, but something that I picked up on. And other than that, I would say that's pretty much it. Overall quality and construction is identical. Placement of the reverse swoosh on the rep is good. These ones pass that solid midsole check. They don't squish under pressure, just like the authentic pair here. Overall, the real question is, can this pass a legit check? No, still not going to pass a legit check in my opinion, but that's okay. We don't need these to pass legit checks. So all it said, guys, check them out if you want to do your own research. All their information is right here. Do what you got to do, guys, and please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to mind your business. All that said, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.